Welcome to The Road Reflected with Nicole Wakeland. Automotive from the lighter side. That means cars, but also cookies, coffee, and pie. Up first, what's Nicole behind the wheel of this week?
Okay, before we talk about what I'm behind the wheel of, we're going to talk about what I wasn't behind the wheel of.
What were you not behind the wheel?
I was not behind the wheel. My chair is stuck, Russ.
Were you in one of
I'm
those
having
F1 cars that was driving in Vegas and hit manhole covers? Because that was
no.
sad.
I was not. That was horrible. I was talking to a friend who was there doing photography, and I said, boy, that kind of looked like a mess. He's like, the understatement of 2023.
Oh, my goodness.
So, no, I was not there. I was not in Vegas. I was in Los Angeles for the LA Auto Show.
That seems exciting.
That I didn't actually go to the show.
Oh.
Yeah, see, it was complicated, and so I was there before the show for two different events.
Home front responsibilities like a good adult.
Home front responsibilities, like the responsible adult I am. So I was there right up until in the morning of, I'm like, I'm out.
Right until the cool part.
Well, but not entirely, because a lot of what happens at an auto show now happens before the auto show.
That's true. It's all the pregame nowadays.
It's changed. There's a lot of debuts that happen ahead of time, like the night before, or 2 nights before.
That's when you get the schmooze, and you see
and I think it also just... Some automakers don't even go to auto shows anymore. Yeah. Because it's expensive as sin when they tell you the prices they pay for the booth, and then just like, oh, you want to have chairs? That's like $9 billion a chair. It
does feel like a bit of a racket. Not going to lie.
It's great for consumers. If you're a consumer and you want to see stuff.
The OEMs, all the technology is the same problem. Like E3 and CES and all those shows are constantly having these problems.
Yeah. But I think auto shows in particular, they're we'll see what happens. We'll see how they morph. So I was at the LA Auto Show. I was really at LA.
Right.
I pre-auto show.
Near the auto show. Auto show adjacent.
And who it came out there with was Toyota. Now, Toyota had us drive the all-new Toyota Tacoma, which I can say nothing about. Okay. Literally, they're like, you can tell people you drove it. Guys, I drove the Toyota Tacoma.
And it's all new. That's all we know.
And so I know a lot. I know a lot in this.
You can't even tell me how you feel about it.
I can't even say if I nothing, zero.
Wow.
I don't want to break the embargo.
This is my life, people.
They were very precise about like, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm not just going to say anything. But they also did show us a couple of things that were sort of like their auto show debuts before the auto show that we can talk about, because once they revealed, they're like, go ahead, talk about it. The pre-show.
We talked about,
So there were two vehicles. One was the 2025 Toyota Camry.
A classic.
Right. And people are sort of like, oh, sedans are dead. No, they're not.
But the Camry is like the sedan, isn't it?
I mean,
isn't it like the number one selling sedan on the planet?
It was dueling with Accord, and I don't actually know how that came out. I don't know who's on top at the moment, but they're like...
I'm sure Honda would email
fighting.
us.
I know. Honda would be like, actually... yeah. So the Toyota Camry, which is all new for 2025.
Yeah.
So it gets a new look to it. It's only a hybrid now. The gas engine... Say goodbye.
Keeps the cafe standards for the fleet in good shape.
Exactly. And it is front wheel drive or all wheel drive. So it's nice to have a hybrid. That's a big deal. It's wintertime. Anyone who lives anywhere where there's winter weather is really grateful.
Especially if you're getting this for your, the first car for the kid. Something like that. I mean, it's not affordable.
I was like, are you buying a brand new Toyota Camry as a first car?
A family sedan. It's great for that because you want to have safe traction. You want to have a safe car.
Or it's a great commuter car because it's quiet and it's comfortable, and you can easily fit 5 adults if you wanted to. If you have friends you want to take out, or for some reason there's 5 people totally need to bring. So it gets a new look. It gets a front wheel drive or all wheel drive. There's nothing dramatically different when you look at it. And granted, literally, we looked at it. They pulled the sheet off, which got stuck. It was kind of funny. They went to pull that. They called it a silk. They went to pull it off. It wouldn't come on. The guy's like, tug, tug, tug. So the big like, wah moment was like, wah, wah. Yeah. So...
Okay.
So it's not dramatically different. It looks better. The fact that it's only a hybrid now, that they're getting rid of the gas engine is kind of a big deal. There will be 4 trims that come out for this, varying levels of sporty and fun, and it's just the higher you go up.
Are they trying to make the Camry like exciting now? Because it feels like the Camry's got amazing durability, amazing quality.
I feel like Toyota's
great resale value.
If you want a reliable
you look at a Camry and you're like.
Well, it's not. Remember, the Camry's not a sports car.
No, that's what I mean. It's just a fantastic car for what it does, but it doesn't like get you like excited to see it.
Yeah, sedans aren't the most exciting vehicles on the planet, but this looks nice. It looks good.
We were watching
they did a nice job with it.
The Great British Bake Off the other night, and they were doing this big thing, and it was the anything but beige was the rule. And I just feel like The Camry's like the beige, you know?
It kind of is. But you know what? It does beige really, really well. I feel like
it's the best beige.
It's the best.
I mean, if you're going to, it's the
really
definition of beige in all those ways, you know?
It's a really good beige. I don't think beige is always bad.
No, it goes with anything. It always works. You can use it anytime. It's always there for you. Never fails.
Offensive to no one.
It never offends. You know, it's completely, you can resell it. It'll match anything your new buyer wants.
And it's just, if you do get, I mean, Toyota has like ridiculous reliability. It's so good.
That's right. So if you're going to be beige, you want to own the beige market.
And you're going to have, and truly, I always say this all the time, that you don't get rid of a Toyota because it finally gave up on you. You just got tired of it. You're like, I don't want it anymore. It's been 85 years. I'm done with this. Like, you get rid of it because you're just moving on to a different vehicle, something just totally different. You're ready for a new car. It's very rarely this car has failed me because they're great vehicles. Yeah,
and you can sell it for a pretty penny too.
Yeah. So the Toyota Camry, all new for 2025. Also, they showed off, which is not just a new version of, but new, is the Toyota Crown Signia. Not Insignia, just Signia. Yes. And it's
got a crown in it.
Well, it's Toyota Crown is the model.
Okay.
So here, for 2023, they came out with a new sedan called the Toyota Crown.
Okay.
Now they're coming out with the Toyota Crown Signia. That is the SUV version of the Crown. So they're trying to make this Crown kind of a thing.
Okay.
So to get like increased awareness of, I guess, of the Crown. So the Toyota Crown Signia is like a 5-passenger baby SUV. It's not very big. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Toyota Venza.
I am not.
Okay, so the Toyota Venza is a 5-passenger SUV. It's a little bit nicer, a little bit more refined. I always feel like it's like when people don't want rugged and they want a Toyota, they want it to be prettier, more refined, a little bit more nicer. That's what the Venza is.
Okay.
It's a great car. They're discontinuing it.
So the Crown Signia replaces it.
The Crown Signia is going to boot.
And is it more affordable also? So is it kind of like a nice entry level SUV?
I want to say we don't have pricing. I was glancing through and I couldn't see price. Remember, these are new models coming, so we've got limited details on them. So it's supposed to, I think it's a little bit bigger than the Venza, so a little bit roomier. Has standard all-wheel drive.
Oh, that's nice.
And it too will have a standard hybrid.
So it's also a standard hybrid, so good mileage. Okay.
So we're going with that. We're going all in with the hybrid, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing.
That's kind of standard now for everything nowadays.
Yeah, hybrids are becoming. Yeah, everyone's pushing EVs, but then you see there's been stories this whole week about how EVs are not moving the way that automakers expected for a huge variety of reasons. And I think the early adopters who were either like right out of the gate first, or I'm ready as soon as the first few people tell me they work to buy them, have done it. So I don't think... And
the few people sort of in the middle who've experimented have realized that the charging network's still not...
There are people I talked to a fair number of people, like regular consumers, who have said they had one and they truly traded it in because it was just a little... The charging.
So the hybrid's a great choice because you get the mileage.
Yes.
You still have to use a little gas, obviously, but you don't have to worry about range anxiety.
It's better fuel economy, right. So you're still getting improved fuel economy. So 2 new vehicles that made their debut before the LA Auto Show, the 2025 Toyota Camry and the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia. And at some point, not now, because the Toyota folks will be mad at me, I'll get to tell you about the all-new 24 Toyota Tacoma.
So we'll have to make do with Crowns for now.
Crowns and Camrys. Hey everyone, if you like what you're hearing, then go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe either on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. And please do leave us your reviews.
On iTunes, if they're positive.
I always say that. If you really want to be a jerk and say mean things, you can.
Constructive criticism is always welcome if it's accompanying a 5th star. 5-star with feedback. No, it was 5 stars. Is like, it was great. I listened to it again. I tell all my friends about it. Here's some recommendations for improvement. That is excellent.
Okay.
We like
I like that you have your parameters for what you will allow.
It's a tip with a tip.
If you have any control whatsoever.
Yeah, because that's like, if you don't want to donate to the show, you don't ask for money. Just give us a nice review.
Okay.
And if you'd like to leave us a tip for how to make the show better, you can leave a tip with your tip.
Okay, that works.
We'll take those.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the car that is currently in my driveway right now.
Ooh, I've ridden in this one.
Yes, this is the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Sport. This is the second Subaru that I have had, Crosstrek, that I've had in like a month.
We like our Subarus.
Which is kind of funny. And, it's funny because Subarus are big in New England.
My dad's a huge Subaru guy. He had many Subarus, and he's a New Englander through and
your dad would make them run far past they should have.
Yeah, he was in the Army Corps of Engineers. So this guy could fix anything.
And I remember you having, what was it, Subaru Justy?
I had yes.
Right?
Yes, I had a Subaru Justy.
And the window wouldn't stay up, and you had like
there may have been chisels
shoved into the window
to keep it up. Mm-hmm. This is way back in the 80s, though, so it was a long time ago.
No harsh on Subaru.
No. It wasn't even harsh on the Subaru even then. My dad would run cars until they would fall apart.
He would hold them.
If they didn't have 250,000 to 300,000 miles on them, they were not ready to.
You had one. I went with your parents to pick you up in college, and the windshield wipers in the car we drove were not working, and your father had somehow
jury-rigged a wall light switch.
Yeah, that was down by his
that
left leg,
hanging
and he had
on
to
wires.
flip
under
it
the
off
dash
and on. It was like a light switch,
but it worked
mostly.
Oh, it worked.
There was a moment it poured rain, and I had fallen asleep in the car.
Kind of fiddle. It's like hot wiring the windshield wipers.
Like I woke up to your mom screaming. I was like, "What is
Are you sure that wasn't they weren't working, or you just forgot to turn them on?" He also drives without his wipers for a long.
Could have been either one, knowing your dad.
Right.
It could have gone either way. So
but he likes the Subaru, so there you go.
This Subaru, everything works just fine.
There you go.
Nothing cobbled together. Your dad has not gotten his hands on it.
No.
So the Crosstrek is all new for 2024, and the trim that I was driving is the Sport, and the Sport sits like in the middle of the lineup.
It's not the entry level. It's kind of got a little bit of
it's smack in the middle. So pricing on this, the range for the Crosstrek in general goes from $24,995 to $31,995.
Okay.
This is $30,290. So again, it's towards the higher end though. Like it starts at 20, so it's a little bit on the higher end. But with the Sport, there's a kind of a big jump. It's not just nicer stuff, prettier stuff, better interior materials, bigger infotainment screen. It's a different engine. So this has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder with 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torques.
That seems pretty solid.
Like torque.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said torques.
Torques, well, they come in packs now.
They come in packs. It's a pack of 178 torques.
Right. One box.
And a continuously variable automatic transmission.
Okay.
Base trims get a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 152 horsepower and only 145 pack of torques.
It seems like a nice little boost there for the higher level.
You do. So it's not just that your trims are getting nicer in terms of interior materials and amenities. You're actually getting more powerful.
Now, you've had
like
two of these. How was the pickup? How'd you feel the handling?
I've driven both of these engines, and I do like I would pay for
worth
the one.
The splurge.
Yeah, 100%. It's worth the splurge.
I hate being underpowered on the highway you're trying to pass. That's the worst feeling.
And the only thing, CVTs are weird. Sometimes they're noisy. This one's a little bit noisy if you really mash the gas. Like you're trying to cut into traffic you shouldn't really be cutting into, and you're like, oh gosh, It gets a little bit loud, but otherwise it's pretty well mannered. You don't mind the CVT at all. Yeah, so I really like driving it. The funny thing is Subaru is so popular here. Like you're saying, your dad loves Subarus. Subarus are legion in New England, and it's like truly like I parked in the parking lot and I got confused for a second at the grocery store because I'm like, wait, there's like 8 Subarus. I'm clicking the lights. Which one of these is mine?
Yes.
Like you can't go 5 feet without a Subaru dealership or Dunkin' Donuts.
That is correct.
There's one or the other, if not both.
I've lost count of the Subarus in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
We
them.
have a lot of Subarus. In fact, our friend has a Crosstrek that's bright orange. Laura, who lives down this, she loves that little car. It looks like a little pumpkin. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the infotainment that I mentioned about it getting better as you move up. So the base trim, the very, very base trim on this has dual 7-inch touch.
Nice.
Are they both touch screens? I want to say touch screens, but so they sort of divide it up between like climate control and nav. I'm not a fan of that one because I just feel like the dual screen like that where they're not huge.
Yeah.
Like when you have one giant screen and it sort of divides into sections as opposed to physically separate screens.
And I also noticed I was trying to adjust the climate control and like
in this one.
Yeah, and it was like
this has the big screen. This
which
has
I like,
but
even though you still had to like tap twice to get to the auto button, which was sort of weird.
Yeah,
like, I feel
this one has the
if you got that much real estate, put that stuff in the surface.
This one has the 11.6-inch sort of tablet style screen. I do like this better though than the smaller. Screens.
More screen is better.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I like this, and it's nice and clear. I feel like it's a nice crisp screen.
It looks nice. The interior looks nice. Yeah.
Although, like you said, we did sit there for a second. Like
the climate nav's not as intuitive as I would have thought. Yeah.
I feel like climate control, they keep putting it into infotainment, and there's some things you just don't want to have to think about. And that's the thing, too. People get in your car that aren't necessarily people who drive your car all the time. It should be super easy to find. So I guess that's a negative. The positive is you get standard all-wheel drive because Subaru, and you have a good amount of ground clearance. The standard on this vehicle is 8.7 inches. There's a wilderness trim, which is new for this year. They've been gradually rolling out the wilderness sort of ruggedy off-road, a little more clearance, a little more capability. That one has 9.3 inches of ground
and that's a big deal. This is, I think, why Subaru is so beloved in New England, where we get snow.
Right.
Because it is actually, surprisingly easy to high center yourself on snow at like an intersection where they haven't plowed it yet.
That's the thing. So you think like, well, just, you can't always wait for things.
Right.
And sometimes
you got to go out, you got to get the kid to the hospital for, pediatrics, whatever.
Okay. I guess, just in general.
They're having a little croup or something. And I'm just making up the scenario here, but there have been times where I've had to drive in the snow.
Yes. Well, and then the thing is that where I always fear that I'm going to get stuck. So like if it's a snowbank at the end of your driveway, you see it.
Yeah.
You know it. You make the call, right? But if you're stopped at an intersection for the light to change and the plow goes by you.
That's when it happens.
And now you have literally been plowed into an intersection. Yep. You're like, crud.
And what's worse, there's a little thing, it's a little high and you're on a hill going the intersection. Your car's starting to roll back and the root's so you kind of jam the accelerator to overcome the hill and you hit that little berm. You don't realize how deep it is. Your car goes up and you're stuck. And if you only had like an inch or two more clearance, you'd have been fine.
Exactly. So either go through it or you go up and get stuck on it.
All wheels clutch there, and having a little more height is a big part of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the extra ground clearance you're getting something like a Crosstrek actually is worth its weight in gold. And it has a nice, comfy interior. It's roomy. It's durable. Subaru is that sort of outdoorsy lifestyle brand. You have the guys who go hiking and have mountain bikes and canoes and kayaks and whatever else crazy stuff you want to do when you're outside. And although the interiors have nice materials and they're attractive and they're great, they also tend to be a little bit more durable. So they
tend to be beat up. They're rough and ready, right? You can get your job done out in the field. Yes,
they're rough and ready. It's the kind of car, Subaru's really big on pets.
Right.
In fact, I think I saw pictures from my colleagues. They normally have dogs at the auto shows that you can adopt.
Yes. Don't they have I may be misremembering this, but don't they have rubber inserts for the back?
They do. Actually, the Crosstrek has a thing that you can get. It's a Subaru. It's not like an aftermarket Joe Schmo. Right. It's actually through Subaru that you can get this thing that protects your car. And it protects every square inch. It's not just the seats.
Right.
It protects the seats. You can get it to protect the cargo area.
This is awesome. If you're an outdoorsy person or you got pets that are always muddy.
And the big thing, and this is a big deal, you can protect the doors. It has a sort of plasticky, it's lightweight. It's not huge, but it slips into where the door, where your window goes into your door, old school cup holders that used to pop on the side, between the door and the window. But it protects it, even little dog prints embossed on it. So when your dog jumps up on the window or puts his paws up there, he does not scratch the daylights out of your door, which is kind of cool. So it really is that interior where you feel like I could walk in here with muddy shoes. My dog could run across this with muddy paws.
Right.
I will have to clean it if I want to.
Right, but I can hose it down.
But it's not going to be destroyed. So it's also forget pets, forget outdoors. If you have kids, I think they're worse than dogs sometimes.
Kids are, yes.
Kids mashed everything.
Kids can,
ketchup from French fries.
Because with dogs, you kind of know what they're getting on there. If you leave the kids alone in the back of the car for
you never know what the kids have
just
done.
Driving, not paying attention because you're driving.
Shoved stuff in where the
they could be eating
go.
who knows what. They could be drawing on something with a crayon. Who knows?
Right. So I'm a fan of the Crosstrek. In general, I'm a fan of Subarus, and they are sort of like the poster child car for New England. Hey, wait, did we just drive by a bakery? Nobody's driving by any kind of food place this week because you know what week this is?
It's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving.
My favorite holiday.
Yes. So this is Thanksgiving week, which means grocery stores are mobbed.
Yes.
And ham places and turkey places are mobbed.
Yes.
Butcher shops, mobbed. Bakeries, mobbed.
Yes.
Every place is mobbed. So if you haven't ordered your stuff, you're the person who just has to go in and go, well, I get that.
Yeah, it's like shopping for Christmas presents on the 24th. You just know you're going to deal with whatever's left.
Right. So you either have it ordered or it's stuff your grocery store is going to have.
Generally nowadays, there's going to be the staples are still going to be there. There's always those leftover turkeys the day after that are on sale. So
but last year, remember there was a big thing last year where there was a, I don't want to say a turkey, there was an issue with the turkey supply.
Was there a turkey shortage?
There was a turkey shortage.
Well,
I don't know if it actually materialized. There was fear of a turkey shortage.
Yeah, I don't remember it being hard to get a turkey, nor cranberry sauce, all the staples. But if you're looking for
where do you stand on cranberry sauce? Do you want it with bits of cranberries or do you like the can that has the rings?
It's got to be in the can that has the ridges. It's got to be the jelly stuff.
The jellied one with no
none of the
bits
chunks. No. It needs to be basically jelly. It's basically cranberry jelly.
I know, it's cheesy and it costs 69 cents and it can even be the grocery store brand. Don't spring for Ocean Spray. Get the grocery store brand because it tastes just the same. We have a couple of family members who don't. Most of our family likes the one we're talking about.
Right.
But who they want to I made this homemade cranberry.
Yeah, I'm going to make homemade cranberry. That's great. I'm also going to bring 3 cans.
Yeah. And the cans are gone.
Cans are coming.
And there's a giant
bowl. The cans are always, you'll bring 3 cans and they'll be gone. And then whoever took the time to make that homemade cranberry sauce, it's still there.
I'm sorry. I know people are.
They turn it into okay, if my analogy is like regular cranberry sauce in the can is like jelly,
Yeah.
they turn theirs into like a marmalade situation.
Yes, into like an English
there's like
marmalade.
orange skin in there and like hunks of actual cranberries that are chewy. And it's like, no.
So I'm team jelly cranberry, and with it because it is formed to the can. It actually has the rings from your can around the middle.
And normally for Thanksgiving, this time of year, at this point, I would be researching some new way to cook turkey because every year I try to cook. I've deep fried it, I've smoked it, I've spatchcocked it, I've roasted it like 3 different ways. I've brined it, I've not brined it.
Yeah, he's the guy who cooks this, not me, people.
But the thing I'm even more religious about than my turkey every year is the pumpkin pie.
Yes, and honestly, you make the best pumpkin pie I've ever had in my whole life. And I've never had pumpkin pie at Julian's, which is my favorite pie shop, but I think they'd be hard-pressed to beat you.
Well, I appreciate that. The thing to this, and I'm so passionate about this, that this year we are actually traveling for Thanksgiving. We're actually going to stay in a resort, meet up with the family, and do Thanksgiving. And we have a little kitchen, so we're going to cook Thanksgiving on the fly. But I'm so passionate about the pumpkin pie. For the turkey, I'm just going to buy it at a nearby grocery store down there.
Don't care.
Roast it in the oven. It's probably not going to be the best turkey we ever had, but it'll be fine. But for the pie, so here's the thing: my pumpkin pie is made with fresh pumpkin every year. So every year,
when you go and you look at pumpkins, there's the big ones that you carve.
Not those.
Then there's the tiny ones. It's almost like
they're literally called
like the size of a cantaloupe, kind of. Like
and they're called sugar pumpkins, and the reason they are is because they're sweeter.
Sugar, they're sweeter. So
and that's why you use
pumpkins.
those for your pie. Yes, exactly.
And what I love is, I think, where did you get the recipe for this? The first time you tried it, wasn't it the pumpkin carving kit?
Yes. So the funny part is, back in the 90s, there was a pumpkin carving kit. I think they still make it, but they might have got bought by somebody. And they were one of the first companies to come out with a little tiny saws, the little tiny
you could do
orange
really
handles.
fancy.
And they had templates you could copy and make like all kinds of cool. So you took pumpkin carving from the 4 triangles, the 3 or 4 triangles, to this like really intricate stuff.
The 4 triangles. I know.
And in that kit, there was like a little newspaper fold out thing with how to carve your pumpkin. And in the very bottom corner was a pumpkin pie recipe.
Yep.
For their family's pumpkin pie made with the real pumpkin.
Yes.
And it came out so good. And it's so simple that every year at Halloween, we buy some sugar pumpkins along with our big pumpkins to carve. And then the sugar pumpkins, you roast them, you take the insides out, and I freeze some for Christmas pumpkin pie.
Yes.
But then some I make immediately for Thanksgiving.
Yes. And I normally make a homemade pie crust, which is super easy because Nana's recipe that has like...
You make the best pie crust.
It's really just like a butter delivery system. It's so buttery. So this is like a big deal. So we thought, okay, I'm going to forgo the pie crust because that's going to be too much. That's going to be hard to figure out down there and roll it out and all that stuff. But we are going to...
now the pumpkin is cooling.
It's cooling.
I've roasted the pumpkin. So what you do is so between Halloween and Thanksgiving, the sugar pumpkins will last long enough on your front porch that you can then take them in and you cut them in half. And I learned this part from Alton Brown, actually, how you actually roast it. So you cut the pumpkins in half, put a little salt on them, put them face down on a cookie sheet, stick them in the oven at 400 degrees for like 40 minutes, take them out, let them cool for an hour, and then the pumpkin guts fall right out of the skin. Just poop. And then you throw that in a blender with all the different ingredients, like the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the milk and the eggs and the sugar, brown sugar usually for me. And pro tip, I've tried condensed milk and regular milk.
Condensed milk is too sweet, isn't it?
Condensed milk is sweeter. And that used to be the go-to, but as the kids got older, they actually thought it was too sweet and switched over to regular milk, which I prefer too. But this year, normally I bake it right there, boom, fresh pie.
I love how committed you are, because what are you doing this year? Because I was watching him try to fit this in the suitcase.
My plan is I got this giant thermos. And so I'm going to finish pre-mixing this stuff. I'm going to put the pie filling still in its liquid form in the fridge. And the hope is I'm going to keep it in the fridge for tonight. And then Tuesday when we fly out, I'm going to put it in a thermos. Immediately in a thermos. I'm going to put it in a checked bag. And it's one of those good thermoses, like the good ones.
It's a good thermos.
And so hopefully it'll stay cold enough long enough. And we're just going to hope it works out. And then we're going to bake it there. And the only thing that's going to be different is it won't be, I have a really good ceramic pie plate. So I won't have that.
So that will change.
And we won't have your crust of using the Pillsbury Instant
So it'll be as good as normal. It'll still be the filling will be.
But it'll still be hopefully good.
So in addition to pie, cranberry sauce, only the jelly kind with the rings from the can.
Exactly.
Pumpkin pie, only your homemade pumpkin pie.
Homemade pumpkin pie.
What are you, like, how do you feel about pecan pie?
I do like pecan pie, but it's not a Thanksgiving necessity.
I don't like pecan pie.
But if someone's like, I'm bringing a pie, Russ, I know you're making pumpkin, I want a second one, what can I bring? I will ask for pecan.
Like it.
Good pecan pie is fantastic.
Also,
but you can screw up pecan pie pretty easily.
I also had this discussion with someone, whether it was pecan or pecan, and he's like, you don't pee in a can. It's not pecan, it's pecan.
I think it depends which part of the country you're
No,
from.
he was adamant.
Okay. Is he from Georgia, though?
He's from the South.
Okay. All right.
I want to say he's from Texas. I don't
All
know.
right.
That doesn't really count. I mean, that is not Georgia. Sorry, Texas, not insulting you.
I would say New Orleans or Georgia knows how to pronounce it properly.
New Orleans?
Yeah.
Why New Orleans?
Oh, pecans are a huge thing in New Orleans.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not making this up.
I feel like if it's the South here, what they know how to do better than we do up here, we just mess it up. They do the sweet potato like casserole thing.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the other thing, though, is stuffing. Stuffing is mission critical to get right.
Okay, much like
you have very big feelings about
much
stuffing.
like the cranberry sauce that you can't do too fancy. You can't go fancy with stuffing. Like when you put people put nuts in there and big chunks of celery.
Celery, I'm out.
Sausage is a big thing, and I like sausage. All the stuff that they put in there, all this stuff. You know what mine is? Mine is bread, butter, milk.
Correct.
And
that
that's
is the correct stuffing.
It is the best stuffing.
Yeah, because you want that to basically soak up the gravy, mix in the mashed potatoes, throw a little turkey in there, dollop a cranberry sauce on top, all in one bite. That's Thanksgiving on a fork.
I'm not an all-in-one bite person.
That is Thanksgiving on a fork.
I segregate my food on the plate.
Nope.
I don't want anything to touch. Gravy's allowed to touch.
Because I love the
things,
open-faced turkey sandwiches after, and that's
But that's different than the
thing.
meal. The open-faced turkey sandwich after is different. It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
It's different. But actual Thanksgiving requires all the food except for the gravy, what's allowed to kind of morph around the plate.
Here's
Everything
the thing I
else
think
has to be
that's died,
separated.
though, and I'm curious. So my grandparents were always big into, because they grew up in the Depression, right? So they were always big into using every part of the bird, including the
I know what
bones
you're
for
gonna
the
say.
soup.
Yes.
Who write us in? Does anybody actually use the bones for
I
soup
swear to
anymore?
God, everybody's like, you got to save the
Who
bones.
does the stock
no,
anymore?
I don't do that.
I mean, I think it's
I feel like people
I'd love
do,
to try
but
it sometime.
I don't.
feel like it's a ton of work. I have no idea.
I remember, and your grandparents are gone now, sadly, and we miss them terribly. But she'd be like, you got to save it. Here, I'll clean it for you. You can save it. I'm like, okay. And I put it in the fridge, and I'd throw it away. Because we never did it.
Because no one would take
I
it.
never made turkey stock, and nobody wanted it. It was
Although to
like,
be fair, my grandparents apparently did this, and my grandfather made it to 101. He had a good run.
so maybe what you're telling
it's the
us
stock.
is the mistake is we're not using the turkey
our
carcass to
longevity
make
would be
stock.
improved if we made turkey soup.
Okay,
every
how are we
year.
going to get that home?
I don't know.
That could be
Figure that
too
out.
challenging for me.
Thanks for listening to The Road Reflected. To follow more of Nicole Wakeland's adventures, head on over to NicoleWakeland.com. There you'll find links to her social media from TikTok to Twitter, as well as her work across a wide range of media outlets. Until next time, keep it shiny side up.